15 when I invented the artificial dog heart. How you doing?
John Hughes, the creator of The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Uncle Buck,
Did I ever tell you about the time that I signed a professional ball contract?
would like to introduce you to Jim Dodge.
You got fired again, didn't you?
I'm not like everybody else.
He's got brain damage.
Who does not?
He spent 21 years improving on reality.
Going to Paris on an F-14.
Jim is going to find himself.
Are you a slacker?
No, Presbyterian.
I can offer you $4.44 per hour. $4.44.
What about the benefits?
There's no eating. You're not being paid to eat, so don't. And don't play any music.
I don't have any time to play any music.
Don't touch me.
Welcome to the target team.
You're locking me in?
Boo. Then, one wild night, Jim Dodge finally found the real thing. In aisle 5.
What are you doing here?
I work here. Do you know how you make me feel?
Like a natural woman?
I'm a janitor in training. You're an heiress.
Do you know what your problem is?
No, but let me go get my list.
What are you planning to steal? Hairspray?
Well, we haven't decided yet, have we?
From John Hughes. Career Opportunities. The story of a man and a woman, aisles apart.
If I was sweating, would you touch me?
I would probably touch you even if you were covered with spiders.
And one night that changed everything.
Not as uncomfortable as I thought it'd be.
Oh, no, it's not that.
You blow it! You blow it! You blow it! You blow it!
Welcome to You Blew It. This is the show where we watch turd sandwiches in HD so you don't have to. Reliving our childhoods, one Blu-ray disc at a time. I'm Roden, and of course, with me, as always, is Camaro Kev. And boy, oh boy, is this one from our childhoods.
Yeah. Truly, yeah.
Yes.
So, 1991.
Yep.
Movie is Career Opportunities.
By John Hughes.
Yes, written by John Hughes, directed by... Boy, I can't read this shit anymore, but I know it's not John Hughes. I do know that.
But it was a John Hughes production, too,
Yeah, he
right?
produced it. And he wrote and produced it,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
91. So that puts me at like...
I always thought this was an 80s movie, too. Like...
Well, I mean, it's early 90s.
It was probably filmed in 90, right?
Yeah, probably.
Back in those days, it took about a year for production and editing and all that stuff. Like, this was probably filmed in 89 or 90.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
But man, this is one of those movies that, like, I always remember, but remember very little of.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the key points, right?
Yeah.
We take place in a Target. Yep. Which, at that time, no Targets here in Washington.
No.
Or at least Western Washington that I know of.
Nope.
Right? There's the beautiful Jennifer Connelly.
Yep.
Who nobody can forget. And
Just was in one of the biggest movies probably of all time last
Gun,
year.
right?
Top Gun Maverick, yeah.
She still just looks
Still
fantastic.
doing it big time.
Talk about a person that doesn't age.
Yeah.
And then Frank Whaley.
Is it Whaley or Wally?
Maybe it's Wally.
I don't know which.
It's spelled Whaley.
It's probably Whaley, right?
So maybe Whaley. But Frank Whaley, like, you remember him from everything.
Yes.
Right? Been in so many fucking movies, and he kind of looks like one of the dudes from Kids in the Hall. And so I always thought that he was in Kids in the Hall as well.
I mean, he might be. I don't know that for sure. I don't think he is, but I mean,
I'm pretty sure he's not.
Was Kids in the Hall, was that based out of Chicago? I mean,
no, I think it was Canadian.
Okay.
I think.
Because what's the deal? Is that SCTV? Which the one out of Second City TV? Is that out of Chicago?
Yeah.
So
is that Chicago? I thought that was like a bunch of Canadian guys too.
I think there's a lot of Canadians in Second City. I could be wrong. Second City TV or something like that. I thought that had something to do with Chicago, and I know that John Hughes would put
It probably does. That sounds
many,
right.
yeah, many of those
Yeah,
actors
yeah.
from Second City in there. But who knows? I don't know of Frank Whaley before this movie.
Oh, really?
After this
Okay.
movie, he was in a ton of stuff where he plays like, more like bit roles and stuff. Like he's in The Doors.
Right.
Oliver Stone's The Doors.
Swimming with Sharks, 1994.
Which was, that was a pretty popular indie movie.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction, 1994.
He's only got a bit part in Pulp Fiction.
Right, he's one of the kids that
Kahuna Burger.
Yeah, has the Kahuna Burgers. Swing Kids, that was 93.
Boy, I remember that, but I don't.
Born on the
name.
4th of July, 1989.
Yeah. So that was before this. Born on the 4th of July, and I believe he played a friend of.
Field of Dreams, 1989.
Oh shit! So he's in Field of. So he played a friend of Tom Cruise in Born on the 4th of July because he goes off to Vietnam and he's one of the guys that stays back and goes to college instead of going to fight.
Oh, okay. Little Monsters, 1989. You remember that one?
Was that with
Fred Savage.
Yes, Fred Savage and what's his name, the comedian who's on
Howie Mandel. Right?
Mandel.
He
Jeez.
plays the Blue Monster.
He plays the monster. Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, dude's been in so much shit.
Well, and later
So
on,
much stuff.
he's probably primarily known for more of like a character actor. But I just got done watching all of the seasons of Ray Donovan, and he's in I think 1 or 2 seasons of Ray Donovan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So always liked the guy. Always
Yeah,
thought the guy
yeah,
was great.
totally.
Whenever he's in something, I'm like, oh, Frank Whaley's in this.
Yeah.
I rented this movie from Tom Thumb. I think my older brother did. That was the first time I saw it. I was in 8th grade, I think, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And I thought this guy was fantastic. I thought Frank Whaley was awesome in this movie. And I was like, I can't wait to see what else this guy does. And he never
was a leading role ever again.
pretty much
Yeah.
that I know of. Like, I mean, he did Swimming with Sharks, which again got like a lot of praise on like the indie scene or whatever.
Yeah.
But then he just kind of stayed in that sort of like indie movie, prestige TV, but playing like a bit character or like a character actor or whatever.
Right,
but
right.
always liked the guy. Always liked the guy.
Yeah, he's always kind of, I mean, he's got a very underdog type demeanor and
Very
look
much
to
so,
himself. Yeah. So, pairs well with the absolutely gorgeous Jennifer Connelly, who I don't think we need to go over her filmography at all.
Yeah, I mean, she
Because
just
holy shit,
yeah,
man,
she just consistently
kills it.
Yeah.
In
And when when you and if you haven't thought about her or seen her or she's one of these actors that about every 4 to 5 years she shows up in something big and you
Right.
go, oh
and you
yeah,
go,
Jennifer
oh my
Connelly,
god,
yeah.
Jennifer Connelly. Where's she been?
Where's she been?
Still looks like she's 30.
She still looks amazing. She
Yeah.
still is really good at her work. I mean, it's like, how great is it to be her that just is like, oh, every now and then I'll just show up and do an amazing job in an amazing movie and then,
Right.
do whatever else I do with my life.
Right.
And then just show up again and
be
do
married to Vision.
be married to Vision. Yeah.
So I've got a theory about this movie.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think about the genre of this movie. What would you say the genre of this movie is?
Oh man, it's like a it's not a teen comedy, but it's like a coming of age comedy is what I call it.
Yeah, because they're both playing like young.
Yeah, he's 21.
20-year-olds.
Yeah,
like
he's 21.
younger 20s.
Oh, by the way, let's just get this out of the way right now.
I have a massive cold.
Correct,
And so
yeah.
I am going to be coughing a little bit through this. I took some like really just
He whacked down
super cough syrup.
Mucinex Fast Max.
Yeah.
Severe congestion and cough.
BT dubs. This stuff tastes like vomit mixed with gasoline.
And I can tell you that I didn't taste it, but I smelled it.
Nasty.
And that's an accurate description.
Yeah,
of
so
what it
hopefully
smells
that'll
like.
be taking effect here pretty soon. Okay, so my 2 cents on the genre of this film
Yeah.
is that it's basically teen fantasy. because
Sure.
everything that happened in this movie, when I was a kid and I saw this movie, this was like a dream.
Absolutely.
A dream come
Yes.
true. And as the movie goes along, too, it kind of becomes apparent that this is a dream come true for the guy, too, right?
Yeah.
What's his name in the... Jimmy? Jim?
Yeah, his name's Jim Dodge, I believe.
Jim Dodge, yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like this dude just lies to everybody throughout his life about, how cool his life is. His life actually kind of sucks. He gets fired from every stupid job that he has.
Yeah.
And then his parents, he's still living with his parents at the age of 21. They make him go get a job. He goes and gets a job as the night cleaning boy is the job title at Target.
Yeah. And the way the movie sets him up is that the movie starts with him basically talking to the camera.
Right.
Weaving some tale of like, he's he's reading the newspaper. In the newspaper, there's a robbery at a grocery store, and he's looking
Where
at
the clerk gets killed.
Yeah, the clerk gets killed, and he's like, "That's no robbery. That was an execution."
Right.
And then he's talking to the camera, and you're like, okay, which it's a John Hughes movie, so like Ferris Bueller talks to the camera, so you think, okay, this is one of those type movies, but then you realize as he gets into his little monologue, the camera flips around to show you who he's talking to, and it's a bunch of dogs.
Right.
All right. And then his boss comes in and like surprises him and fires him because he's basically fucking around on the job.
Okay, so he gets fired for just fucking around. I didn't really understand why he was getting fired from that job.
As I watch this and as those words came out, or as we watch this and the words came out of my mouth, I think clearly it was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Right.
But like
he's sitting in like
the boss's office
chair.
I think that's primarily, and we don't know what else he did to get to that point where the guy, but you are correct. As I said that, I was like, who cares if he's fucking talking to the dogs? He's taking care of the dogs. I mean, that's his whole job.
That was the job, right?
He works at a shelter is what it was. So he gets fired. He goes home. He lives at home. He's at dinner.
His dad is apoplectic.
Yeah, his dad who is driving around the whole time in a cement mixer because he's a contractor.
Yeah.
And he's like, you got to get a job. His sister, I believe his sister, he says, pretty funny line. I remember this. Let me disclose this. I watched this movie a lot when I was a kid.
I can see why.
It was on, I don't know if we had like Stars or one of the lesser.
It was on TV all the time.
It was on TV all the time.
That's where I saw it. And that's why I never saw like the beginning of this movie. I would always come in while they were locked in the Target.
Yeah,
that's
most people like come across it when they're like halfway through and he's in the Target being a doofus, like doing a bunch of crazy shit running around in the store.
A lot of montages.
Yeah. But I should disclose that I've seen this movie.
Dirtiest fucking Target on the planet
ever. And it was like not dirty like as in like there's like shit spilled on the floor, but like newspapers.
So much fucking garbage.
So many people that are just like, well, let me see what's in the sales paper. Ball it up, throw it on the floor. Tons of that. But no, I watched this movie a lot. Yeah. And I think it was my older brother who rented it. And I was fascinated. I loved Frank Whaley in this movie. I thought he was really good and I thought he was really funny. I thought it was unique that he was always dressed in like 1950s like wingtip shoes and like
he's kind of got that hairstyle.
He's got the hairstyle too. It's like a pompadour.
He had that same hairstyle for a very
long time. Yeah. He's got like a pompadour with like one curl that hangs down. You know who he reminds me of? And when I first met Luke used to have his hair in like a pompadour kind of thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he would always get made fun of for looking like Fry off of
Futurama.
Futurama.
Yeah.
He had this like sort of like pompadour peak that would point up, and sometimes a little curl would come down.
That's how I had my hair too.
Really?
Yeah. And the same thing would happen.
Yeah. Like one little like.
And I'd love it when it would just kind of happen naturally.
Yes.
And I would love it when it would happen, because if you tried to fake it, if you tried to do it by yourself, you couldn't do it. You'd fuck everything up. So when it actually did happen, when your hair, because your hair had to be a certain
Length, yes.
and once it got too long, it didn't happen right anymore, and too short wasn't going to happen at all.
Yeah.
Right. But once it hit that sweet spot, where it was like you're a couple
naturally
weeks in,
droop down
you're a
after
couple
this.
weeks in from a haircut, and it just kind of falls over. Oh man, you catch yourself in the mirror, and you go,
yeah, man.
yeah, well
It's
done,
doing it.
well done.
Yeah, well, I noticed it too because I had terrible hair. I had straight fucking hair that I could never figure out what to do, and I'd get jealous and watch movies like this and shit like this. I'm like, God damn. But anyway, so I really loved this movie, and whenever it was on, I would watch it. Whenever it was like, no matter what part of the movie it was.
Yeah.
And I'd watch it all the way through. So I'm a big fan of this movie. Clearly, I bought it on when Kino Lorber, God bless him.
God bless.
I mean, they know these like niche movies.
Yeah.
That this is Universal. Mm-hmm. It's John Hughes.
Yep.
It's one of the lesser John Hughes. It probably did shit at the box office, and they're sitting on this, and Kino says like, "Hey, we'd love to put that out in high def," and that's how he got this little treat.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Totally worth it too.
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
And the movie's tight and bright. 83 minutes.
83, not even
83
85.
minutes. Not even 85.
Wow.
83 fucking minutes.
Wow.
So
I
anyway,
will say, felt longer than that.
it does. It gets really slow in the middle.
It gets
and
a little slow.
They have these like sorts of he and her when they first get together and they're having life discussions.
Yeah.
Gotta tell you, at age 14, really
seemed very poignant
very poignant.
when you were younger.
At age 46, not so much.
Not so much.
Not so
Yeah.
much. Kind of boring.
Kind of boring and does not make sense. Like,
No,
they're
it
both
doesn't.
complaining about their respective lives.
Yeah.
And they both have it pretty fucking good.
Yes.
Like,
But
not a lot to complain about.
No, I was thinking the same thing. It doesn't make sense because he's like known as the town liar.
Mm-hmm.
She's known as the town tease,
Yeah.
whatever that means.
Well, we get a sense
glimpse
of
of that,
that
yeah.
because she like walks in on her dad basically like owns like the town.
Yeah.
Right. Just big swinging dick.
Monroe.
Town. Monroe, Illinois.
Or Monroe, as
Monroe,
they're saying in the
yeah.
movie.
And basically owns the town, and so the governor sends like the governor of Illinois sends two dudes over to his house, to like try to talk him into doing some deal.
Yeah, they're trying to get a Japanese car plant.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
in town.
Which he turns down because he doesn't want his town changing at all.
Yes. I don't care about goddamn jobs or whatever.
It seems like, I mean, if you really think about it, that's pretty admirable trait for him because everybody seems gainfully employed in town.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem like they don't, they're not showing the back alleys.
Yeah, I mean,
of Monroe.
Yeah, Monroe now probably looks quite different than the movie than the town we see in this movie.
Yeah, right. But keeping the town quaint and not going after the big bucks. I mean, the guy seems like solid dude, right?
Yeah. Until again today, if we go to that town and they're like, "God damn, only if we had that car plant here, we'd be full of jobs." But yeah, so
his daughter walks in. Jennifer Connelly's character walks in at that point,
and she's trying to be quiet,
and
like sneak up to her room,
right? And he says, "Hey, come in here, honey, and meet these two guys." Which I don't really understand why he's doing this in the first place. But then she walks over, she takes off her coat. She's wearing very slim-fitting attire.
Yeah,
and she walks up and she just kisses one of the dudes.
Yeah, he's like he. It's to piss her father off, right?
Yeah, but still, like,
it's pretty
immature way to piss off your dad.
It's pretty funny though.
Would you make out with a fucking super old ugly dude?
Yeah, but I mean, to piss your dad off,
to piss your dad off?
Yeah, and it's not like she made out. I mean, it's not like they tongue kissed. She's like kisses him on the lips, and
but it's
even
so weird.
It is so weird. And
what a fucking weird.
And the dude Bob.
Bonovich.
Yeah, but like Bob Bodinsky, Bob Stanovich or whatever his name is. He's like, "Hi, I'm Bob Stanovich" or whatever. And then she like plants a kiss on him. And while he's getting kissed, he's looking around like, what the fuck is going on? And then the next dude is like, who's like watching.
Hey, I'm Dave.
Yeah, and then she shows steps in front of him, and he's like clearly excited. He's like, "My name's Dave." And she's like, "Hi, Dave." And she like puts her hand out to shake his hand, and then she goes up to her room.
Poor Dave.
And yeah, poor Dave. And then like you see her the next
Fuck
scene.
you, Dave.
Fuck you, Dave. You got a big mouth. You see her like quietly sitting in her room, lights out.
Yeah. Dad comes up and is like, if you ever do anything like that again, I'm going to beat your ass.
Yeah, I'll beat the shit out of you or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, in one, like...
You literally get that, and that's the whole exposition for their relationship, right? And that's why she's like acting out.
Yeah, she lives at home with her dad,
She's rich
who
as
owns
hell.
the town. He's rich, so she's doing fine. She was one of the cool kids in school. We find out later on when they meet up. And she is done with this small town. She wants to leave, but she doesn't know how to do it, and she doesn't want to piss her dad off.
Right.
We find out also that her mom has passed and her brother has passed.
Oh,
You may
I
have
missed that. I missed that
been
part.
taking a leak when she says that. So Frank, who is okay with living at home, wants to keep living at home.
He's just a slacker. He's just a lazy
slacker,
piece
yeah.
of shit. Yeah.
And he loves like talking. He goes on these monologues and like so after he gets fired, he's again talking to the camera and but then it pulls back and it's like what three kids that are like probably like 13.
Right. And he's just lying his ass off.
He's just
to
lying
these
his
kids.
ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what is he saying? He's like a spy or some sort of bullshit like that.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. So, but his dad is like, you got to get a fucking job because
You gotta pay rent.
You got to pay rent.
You're in your 20s now. You're still living with us.
It's so ridiculous. So basically, I'm one of those 13-year-old kids that he's talking to in the movie when I watched this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I still thought, even though he was lying, I still thought Frank Whaley was cool because he has a way with words and he has a confidence about him.
Right.
And I was like, God damn.
It was like this older kid in my hometown of Indianola named Bob. And Bob wore a leather jacket and he smoked.
Oh, fuck.
And I think he had like a motorbike, but usually that was broken down. So he was usually riding a BMX or the equivalent, like a Huffy around or something like that.
How old were you?
I must have been like 6 or 7.
And so how old was he?
He must have been 14, 15 at that point or something like that, right? Or probably even a little bit older than that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if
17.
he had a motorcycle that never ran. But like,
he would just weave these fucking tales, right, to me and Kelly Dickerson.
And you'd probably eat it up.
And we just ate that shit up.
I bet you did. And
none of it was real.
None of it was real. And you never thought like, this dude is riding his BMX around when he's got a motorcycle. What's going on here?
Yeah,
like now you look back on it and you're like, oh, yeah. But yeah, I mean, watching this movie, I was like, oh, this guy's fucking cool. But anyhow, so we find out. So he, at some point, he comes across Jennifer Connelly, and I forget what her name. Josie, right? Is that her name? Josie.
Oh,
I think he's like, Josie, come in here and meet these guys. I think that's what. You guys came in, got to give them to you guys. So
give these guys some land crab.
he sees her at the gas station.
Right.
I can't. Oh yeah, that's right. So he's at the gas station.
Josie.
He's trying to get a job at the gas station, and the guy at the gas station.
He's like, no, you're a fucking liar.
Which I love.
And I'm not going to give you this job. And he even like is like, I'll work here for free.
Yeah.
And the gas station attendant is like, nah. Sorry.
I love that.
Sorry, Jim.
That Jim goes. He's bullshitting dogs.
Yeah.
He's bullshitting 13-year-olds. Then he's bullshitting the elderly man. Like he's doing his rounds that he normally does.
Yes.
He talks to the kids, and then he goes to the old guy at the gas station who listens to his bullshit too.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's one thing that the dude at the gas station says too. Is like, why don't you move to St. Louis?
Oh yeah,
because nobody's heard your stories there.
Yeah. It's a big city. There's lots of jobs, and no one knows you're a bullshitter there.
Right.
Yeah. And so while he's at the gas station talking to this guy, Josie shows up and is getting gas or whatever. And she looks at him and he starts doing this whole act where he's cool. He puts on some sunglasses,
Right.
he pops a cigarette in his mouth, all this
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And right as he's like doing this whole routine, his dad comes over and grabs him and goes, "You got fired again!" Like, because the guy at the shelter calls him and says,
Yeah.
tells him all about it. And
Fired
so,
your son.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, anyways, he ends up going and interviewing at Target.
Right. And this is where we run into John Candy's character, who's
John
the manager
Candy,
of the store.
Yeah, he's the manager of the Target in Monroe. Yeah.
And he, John Candy, this is a pretty funny scene too, because John Candy
pretty
thinks
funny.
he's like talking to somebody that's applying for a different job.
Yeah,
like offers him all this shit, like,
$42,500 $42,500 a year.
Yeah.
Benefits, like
health insurance.
Health insurance.
He's got 401k.
Yeah.
Like he gets a stipend for a car and and all sorts of shit.
All sorts of shit.
And
Frank Whaley is playing along. So
right,
he's
right.
And
he's like, well, I had the number 45 in my head.
Yeah.
And John Candy finally is like, okay. And then gets a call and promptly finds out that the person that he thinks he's talking to missed his flight.
Yes.
And is not showing up.
Yeah. It's like a regional manager or something
Right,
like that.
yeah.
And then he's like, so his assistant that he's talking to on the
Operations
phone.
manager.
Yeah. He's like, well, who am I talking to here? And then he hangs up the phone.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry, I confused you. The job we have for you is overnight cleanup boy, and we can offer you $4.
That's the job title. Overnight cleanup boy.
And we can offer you $4.25 an hour. He's like, what are the benefits? 2 15-minute breaks and a 30-minute lunch. But by the way, the other thing too is when he goes, $42,500, and I can't go anymore. And then Frank Whaley goes, I love that he's playing along too.
Yeah.
Because he's such a bullshitter. He finds himself in this situation where it's like, holy shit, they're offering me 45,000 or 42,000.
Yeah.
And so he plays along and he goes, you know what? I really had 45 in mind.
Yeah.
And they played the Jeopardy theme song while he's waiting.
Oh, did they? I didn't
you
notice that.
realize this?
Oh my God.
I thought for a second you were going to turn to me and I was like, really, dude? But at that time, I don't know how much of a joke how much that joke was used that often.
Huh.
The Jeopardy theme when someone's waiting to make a decision or something?
I think Jeopardy was probably pretty big in 91
Absolutely was.
or 90, whenever this
For
was.
sure. Jeopardy's been around forever, but
edited.
that version of that song, I don't know when they debuted it.
Huh.
So I would think it was really big at the time because the newer version of Jeopardy probably really started becoming the thing it was probably late 80s, early 90s.
But if you think back, Jeopardy has had that's one of the things that works with those types of game shows too, is that they don't change up a whole lot of shit. They may change up like the visual stuff, but all the auditory stuff,
I'd like to
sounds
check
and
that.
the music, they never touched.
I just know that when I watched this back in the day, I thought it
Yeah.
was really funny. And watching
Right.
it now, it's like everybody plays the fucking Jeopardy tune for someone to wait to do
right.
something,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
and maybe it was even back then, and I'm just a little kid and I didn't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I watching it now is like, that's been done so many times. But
Right.
So anyways,
finally, he starts his job.
he
right?
takes the job, obviously.
takes the
'cause,
job.
Yeah.
Starts it that night, and then we get a little bit of the night manager kind of like walking him through
William
this whole thing.
Forsythe,
Yeah.
who plays the unhinged bad guy in
Yeah.
Out for Justice with Steven Seagal.
That's right. And I mean, he plays the perfect fucking unhinged character in pretty much everything that he's in.
He does. And
Whether
this one, it's nice.
whether it's like a detective or a serial killer.
Yeah.
Right.
And this one, he's got a ponytail that's pulled back.
Yeah.
And he's obviously this dude who's like, the only power he holds in life is the poor sad sack who he oversees, who cleans the fucking Target overnight.
Right. And so he walks him through what he needs to do and then takes off and locks him in the target.
Which is an important plot line to this movie.
Yes, because he can't now. Jim, the character Jim, cannot leave. Right.
Yeah.
Now the whole while too, we know that Jennifer Connelly has been in, or Josie has been in the target as well. She was.
Oh boy!
Preparing to
between
the
your
Mucinex coming back.
I was gonna say between your coughing, which has gone away by the way.
Yeah.
Come on. But
I am suppressing it myself.
Yeah, and you're getting some sort of burps going on here too, or something. It's like a whole mess over here.
I am a wreck.
By the way, if there's any throat gurgles in the show, it's yours.
It's Roden.
It's you. Even if I do get one, I'm just gonna say it's you.
You can blame it all on me.
Yeah. While he's interviewing at this target, we also have like a montage where we see Josie stealing things.
Right.
She's got a big overcoat on. She's
like, shoving stuff into her bra. Yep. She's like putting pantyhose on over her leggings and everything like that. Yeah. And so she kind of disappears. They close down the store. Jim gets locked in, right? Yeah. And he just starts going. He does a little bit of work. Then we go into like montage territory.
Yeah, and he's doing
He gets bored in like an hour.
He gets bored and he's doing everything that the overnight manager tells him not to do. Mm-hmm. He's like, no grazing.
Right.
And he's like, you know what that is?
Pulling candy out of the...
And Frank's like, no, what's grazing? It sounds like a cow. He's like, exactly. Cow chews on grass, only we don't have grass here. We've got food in the aisles. Do not eat the food here. Shit. Yeah. I do love the part where he puts on this, like, he's got a what do you call that? A jumpsuit that Frank puts on that Jim puts on.
The
custodial...
God, what are those called?
Like they're almost like a mechanic's uniform or whatever. But it's got a name tag that says Darnell.
Right.
And he says, hey, once
coveralls.
He's like, once I get this job, do I get my own set of coveralls or whatever? And he's like, no, at best you'll get a new patch. And he's like, currently this thing smells like Darnell. And so the whole time he's got this patch that says Darnell.
Right.
And he actually makes a joke, which I appreciate later on. She says something to the fact, in your shoes. And he's like, these are Darnell's shoes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I caught that one. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one.
Pretty good line.
Yeah. But from there we really do start like a pretty long montage of just scenes of like him doing a little bit of work, then just fucking around.
Yeah.
Him doing a little bit of work and then fucking around. And this is where we see that this is the dirtiest, fucking most disheveled target on the planet, because there is so much shit in the aisles of this that he is like sweeping up, like empty boxes and
tons of shit,
newspaper and like big rolls of paper, and candy wrappers and cups and all sorts of stuff.
I do appreciate when his manager is giving him because like this. I think one of the better scenes is this dude like walking from the back storage area as he's leaving the store, and they're walking together and he's giving them a rundown. He's like basically like, you sweep all the way into the end aisles, and then when you get in the end aisles, you put everything into a dustbin, you take the dustbin. The shit he's actually saying makes sense to me.
Oh yeah.
In my OCD mind, I'm like, okay, I'm following exactly what he's saying. And I even said at some point, I go, I would probably be okay with this job because you could probably do it the same way every night.
Single night. And
there's something soothing about
this. This is why I go back to like this movie fits in the fantasy genre, because that job would be if that job paid like really, really well, I would have that fucking job. Because to be all on your own in a big ass store like that, just fucking listening to some music and sweeping shit up.
And that would
be the best.
That like
would be the best.
I have to get a certain thing done.
Yes.
Come morning time.
Right.
And if I don't get it done, there's no way of hiding it.
Right. Exactly. But it's also like, after you get like a system in place, right? You know how long it's going to take you to do each little part. So you can kind of fuck around for a little bit. Like maybe you put some roller skates on.
Yeah.
Roller skate. Maybe some hot chick falls asleep in one of the changing rooms as she's trying to decide whether or not she's gonna shoplift all this shit. And you just spend the night just fucking around with her.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
That's what happens in this movie.
Fucking fantasy. Fucking fantasy, man.
He's eating all the candy. He's roller skating around. He's
Falling
cranking up.
in love.
Good.
Come on.
Fantastic part of this movie. Looking at the aisles and what's for sale in the Target at that time.
It's like a nostalgia hit. Man.
He's got those rack stereo systems with giant speakers on either side, you know.
God dang it. I used to spend so much time looking at stereos.
Complete aisle of cassette tapes.
Yes.
And at the end of the aisle, a few CDs.
Yeah.
And
in
LPs.
in the long cardboard boxes.
Yeah, in the long cardboard boxes.
New Kids on the Block was on one of the shelves there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just, it's a nostalgia dream. It's kind of like seeing that video of an old, what was it, a Fred Meyer?
Fred Meyer, yeah, where the camera was recording.
Where the camera was recording.
Yeah.
Somebody put it on YouTube. Like it's like 6 hours of just videotaping the fucking the technology center there.
So great, dude. Every time I go into a Fred Meyer still, which is not very often, I'm looking for that technology section. They don't have it anymore.
They don't have it anymore.
But it's like my brain is broken. I still, because they had it for the longest time.
Yeah, they had it up until like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and you wouldn't go in. There wouldn't be like the section where there's camcorders or anything,
right?
But there'd be video games and movies and TVs and shit like that.
Yeah,
and it was a section within the store where you had to it had its own beeper.
Yeah,
that, like if you went in and you tried to take something out, it would go off.
Right. You had to buy what you were getting in
there. Yeah. I look for that section every time I go in one of those things.
Well, go up a little bit further on Aurora.
Disappointed.
The one up in Shoreline.
No, it's not.
It's not there anymore.
No, it's not there anymore. That was the last one I went to, and I went in. I was like, what is this shit? It's worse. They have the aisles now where like video games and movies are.
Yeah.
They're sliding glass doors that are locked in.
That are all locked.
And they're fucking empty. Empty.
Yeah.
It's very depressing.
Nobody gets shit there anymore.
Depressing.
Nobody gets shit there.
It'd be cool to be the late night janitor though.
Oh yeah.
By the way, there's no late night janitors that they let stay in there overnight to clean the place, right? Am I wrong? Like they show up when the place closes, probably a few hours before.
And it's a team of people.
It's a team of people. They wrap up by like what, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. or something probably. What do you think?
Probably even sooner than that, man. Like, I mean, especially back in the 90s where people weren't yet treating places like this like total shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like they do nowadays.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know what the fuck's going on with society lately, but Jesus Christ, people. God damn it. The earth is not your toilet. Like
turlet.
But it would probably go a lot quicker back in the day. This brings me to a thought that I had today that I'd like to bring up really quick. It doesn't have anything to do with the movie.
Okay.
But I have to, as a person who works out in the outside for my day job, right? Going from place to place, I have to use a lot of public toilets, right?
Turlets.
And one thing I've noticed in the years that I've been doing this is that so many people on this earth have diarrhea. Like I've come to the realization that at any given point, half of the population of the planet has diarrhea. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, it totally sounds accurate.
And I think it's increasing. Like it's like the percentage is the daily percentage is increasing because the amount of diarrhea that I see splattered onto toilet seats.
So true.
In our
just in the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
In our parks, restrooms.
Yeah, I'm sure someone's sitting here going
that.
yeah, well, no one cleans up those places as often
No, they clean it up every day.
Yeah, I think you're right, dude. I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's
increasing.
Fucking foul, dude.
It's foul.
Yeah.
And you know what?
And if it isn't
stop hovering over the toilet.
That's the other thing.
If you've got a problem,
I've got into this with so many people.
Stop. Just sit on the toilet
Well,
seat.
if you have an ass gasket, I'm not sitting down.
Take some toilet paper,
and
wipe it down.
Yes.
Plop that into the
I've
toilet.
talked about this before on the
into
show.
water.
I don't use those ass gaskets.
Sit on the toilet seat,
Yes.
guys.
You're
Sit on
not
the
getting
toilet
anything from it.
No.
But obviously, if there's diarrhea all over it, you're not going to sit on it. And that's the problem that me and you are having.
Yes.
If there's diarrhea on it, you're not setting an ass gasket down and sitting on it either.
No.
You know, and that's
It's
why
done.
like
The
they're
toilet's
fucking
done for the
hovering.
day. You've ruined the toilet for everybody.
If one motherfucker hovers and explodes all over it,
Yeah.
the
By
rest
the way-
of the day, everyone's hovering.
Yeah. By the way, if you're hovering over that thing, you're getting poo onto your pants. I don't care what you say. I don't care how good you are at hovering. If you've got some liquid,
I was gonna say, if you're hovering and
If you got
that's
some-
the result,
if you
that's
got-
the result,
yeah.
it's on you.
it's on you.
Yeah.
It's on your shoes. It's on your pant legs.
It's on your balls.
It's on your balls.
You've got balls.
if you've got them. Yeah.
Terrible.
If you're
Awful.
If you're letting loose of some Flex Seal, some liquid Flex Seal, that's getting on you.
Sit on the toilet.
Sit on the fucking toilet.
Sit on the toilet.
Fucking animals.
Jesus.
Anyway,
Christ.
sorry
So,
for derailing.
A little ways in, he bumps into her.
Right.
And he's skating around in his underwear with a wife beater on, wearing a wedding veil.
A wedding veil.
And when he sees her, he's like doing loops around the store, and then he quickly glimpses down an aisle and thinks he sees somebody, and then he goes one more lap, and when he comes around, she's standing out, and he's staring at her, she's staring at him, and he rams into a display case of legs.
Leggs.
Leggs.
Yeah.
Which
Hosiery.
was hosiery, right?
Yeah,
and they came in
pantyhose
that came in eggs.
Yeah, it was a weird cylinder with then like an egg, like the top of an egg on it.
Is that what it was? I thought it was
Yeah.
an egg inside of a half cardboard cylinder. Whatever the case may be, the egg.
I think the
top
egg,
of it was like the egg.
would pop off,
And then the hoses were inside.
Right. I never got why that was.
I think it was just a branding thing. I think it was just like.
Yeah, but why eggs? Because it rhymed with legs.
Probably like why legs and eggs, but yeah, I think you could cram a bunch in there.
Well, probably.
And I don't know how many came in one of those things.
I don't know.
But
Those containers were fascinating.
Me too. As a kid, I was just like,
when my mom had
great
them,
branding. Great branding.
I would take them. I would always ask for the legs containers. For my mom.
I've fucking put like Star Wars men in there.
Oh yeah,
and all sorts
used them
of
as
shit.
spaceships.
Yeah, all sorts of shit.
Paint them up.
So she says she's fallen asleep because she was trying to steal a bunch of shit and
she wanted to get caught, get arrested,
and embarrass her father.
To embarrass her dad. Yeah.
Now, while all this is going on, we find out that her dad is with the town cop,
the sheriff,
looking for her because he's worried about her.
Right.
And also the guys that robbed that convenience store and killed the clerk, they are driving around in their car casing places.
Yeah.
So that's interwoven
and
with
they've
all the
ended
shit that's
up
going
into
on.
in the parking lot of the Target.
The Target.
So that's
They're
coming
scoping it
soon.
out, yeah.
But before that all happens, we get all this like another full on montage of the two main characters kind of getting to know each other.
Yeah.
They're having these like quote unquote deep conversations.
And this is where the movie when they start having their conversations is where the movie really starts to drag. And as a kid, like I said earlier, I was like, it resonated with me because again, it was like, this is what it's going to be like when I get out of high school.
Right.
And try to figure out what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah. So I must have been about like either... Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I saw this movie on TV. I definitely didn't see it in the theaters. So I must have been around 12 or 13 when this movie came out. So yeah, that could have hit just right at the right time for me. Where it was like, oh yeah, this feels deep.
Yeah, and you find out in the discussion that they went to school together. Obviously, it's a small town. He was a dork. She was popular.
Yeah,
and she's talking about her problems, and he's talking about his problems.
Right.
And he doesn't see her problems as much of a problem at all, and she doesn't see his problems as much of a problem at all.
Right.
Which is basically sums that whole thing up. But when they're talking about the shit, you're right. It doesn't make sense where he's like, where she's like, you're too afraid to leave. But then
she's too afraid to leave
as well.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah. Not a lot of introspection going on.
No.
In both of these characters, but they start really liking each other, and dancing together.
He makes a microwave meal for them, which I thought was hilarious when I was a kid, because he's got like a couple of trays for him, and he's just like grabbing plates.
He's just grabbing plates off this fucking,
silverware,
once again, fantasy.
He's cooking the meal in the microwave, which you astutely point out probably not plugged in.
Yeah.
Nor would he figure out a way to plug it in, because it's just sitting as a display case on the aisle. Especially back then, there was no power.
There was no power
on those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they get into this deep conversation where she tells him, "You're the town liar. Right. You're known as the town liar," and he gets offended because he doesn't. It's like, what? Who says that? And then she says, "Well,
everybody.
What? Yeah, everybody. And what do they say about me?" And he says, "They say you're the town tease."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, I could see that." But she says something that kind of bothers him, and then they go their separate ways, and then they kind of make up. And that's when she says to him, "I want to leave town.
I've got $52,000 in my purse.
$52,000 in my purse.
Let's go to California.
And while you were taking a leak, he was like, "What are you talking about? Where are we going?" And she's like, "We go here, there, whatever." She ends up with LA. And then at some point he just says, "You know what?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. You know what? Let's totally do it." And she's like, "Cool." And, I don't know how do they get to this whole thing where she says she needs to make something up to him.
She feels bad for him.
calling him a town liar.
For calling him the town liar. She wants to make it up to him. She's like, what's something that I can do to, like, you know, make you feel better? And then he comes out with this story. It's like when they were little kids.
Yeah, like
they danced at a dance together. And she doesn't remember it, and her hair got stuck in his braces or something like that. And so their dance ended very early, prematurely.
And he said, "I'd like to finish
that dance." And she was like smitten with that. You could tell the look on her face. She was smitten with that because
he didn't say, "I want to bang the bejesus out of you."
She was like expecting, he wants a blowjob or a hand job or some
whatever,
shit.
or just straight up banging.
Yeah. So now they dance, they kiss, and then the next scene is them fucking around in a tent.
That's up on
Coleman
top,
tent up on top of one of the display aisles. Yeah.
Which falls off of the fucking display aisle onto the goddamn linoleum.
The sheriff shows up, starts tapping on the window, and he hears it, and so he's like trying to scramble, and then they fall.
That shit would hurt.
Dude, that's like 6 feet. And they're laying down
on linoleum.
Yeah. Linoleum over concrete.
Inside a tent. Yeah. So he gets up and goes out there. The sheriff is like, "Hey, have you seen Josie, whatever her name is?" He's like, "No." Or he goes, "No, I saw her yesterday at the gas station." He's like, "Well, she's been missing and all this stuff." So he's like, "Well, let me in." He's like, "I can't. I'm locked in."
Right.
So he leaves.
They go back. We get into like they're now like roller skating around the store together, and then all of a sudden those two thieves are in the store pointing guns at them.
They came in through the back somehow, right?
And then they crash into them, and hilarity ensues. Right now we get into kind of the climax of the story.
Yeah,
where they're basically being held hostage by these two dipshit thieves, played by
Dermot Mulrooney.
Dermot Mulrooney, who's playing a very odd choice.
Yeah, I found it very funny. I still do when I watch it.
He's very effeminate.
Yeah, he's very effeminate. Like
I think they're trying to play up that he might be gay, but he's
not
very
really, though. Like
creepy.
Yeah, just like lecherous
towards Josie's character.
Yeah,
so
of course. I mean, she's smoking hot.
Yeah.
You know? But what's funny is like Frank Whaley or whatever, Jim, looks like he's like a 50s sort of bebopper or something,
Yeah.
right? Like we've talked about his attire and his hair. This guy shows up and he's like a greaser.
Yeah, he's just totally gross. fucking
Greasy
looking.
hair,
Yeah.
lamb chop, fucking sideburns.
He's also got a unibrow.
He's got a unibrow. He smokes stogies that have the plastic tip, like the
Swisher
white
Sweets.
Swisher Sweets.
Yeah.
The other dude just got curly hair, kind of nondescript. They're bumbling idiots. But Frank starts bullshitting them into
Yeah.
thinking that they've run into like some sort of a bust. We find out these guys are bumbling idiots. Frank
Tricks them into dropping their weapons, and then takes the guns, and then the two guys are like, haha, the guns aren't loaded.
and so he gives them back.
So he gives them back. What?
I don't.
Why do that?
Because he's an idiot. That's the whole. That's the
Yeah.
whole thing. Is like he's only
Yeah.
clever to a point. I think. Is
Right.
So he gives them back because he's actually kind of a chicken too. Because he's like,
Sure.
oh shit, these aren't loaded. These guys are gonna kick my ass. Here you go. Here, have your guns back. I apologize. Then
Yeah.
they immediately fire off the guns and go like, we lied.
Yeah.
So now it's her turn, and she goes,
She's gonna try.
I'll take
to
care
play
of
him.
this.
Yeah.
And so she.
She turns on the tease charm, right?
Yeah, and this is the whole point where he's going to do his thing lying, he's
Yeah.
going to win it over, and she's going to do her thing teasing, which classic scene from this movie is she's riding one of those quarter horses. Do those even exist anymore?
Can't say that I've seen a whole lot of them, but there are some out there.
They've got to be out there somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
These are the things that you'd put a quarter in when you were a kid, get on them, and they'd like ride up and down. There's
Yeah.
there would always have a small tiny merry-go-round outside of the Kmart. Do you remember that? Where
I
you
do
have
remember those, yeah.
You could be like 3 kids on it at one time, and you put a quarter in, and it would
Yeah.
go for like a minute or whatever.
Right.
But this is one of those things. So Jim, the two thieves are all sitting at their own booth in the food court.
They're all
eating
just
corn
like-
dogs, watching her ride this
Yeah.
horse.
Famous fucking scene.
Famous scene.
Everybody, even people who haven't seen this movie, have seen that scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah, indeed.
So she's like mesmerizing these guys by the way
Right.
she's riding this horse.
Right.
And she says, "Look, I've just been trying to get out of town. Let me partner up with you guys. I want to
Yeah.
leave with you."
Yeah.
And she's doing such a good job that Jim
Starts to believe her too.
starts to believe her too, and it's like, oh, it's like high school all over again.
Yeah.
You know.
He's getting
And
left behind.
so they start loading up carts of shit because they're getting ready to leave. And she says to Jim, "They've got a car. We need a car to get out of town," which is not entirely true. Because
Yeah,
we'll talk
she
about
has-
this at
she
the end of
has
the
a
movie.
car.
At the end of the movie, we'll talk about this too. Like
Okay.
when we get to the end. So, so she starts helping them. They're stealing all this shit, and there's this whole scene as they're getting ready to load the car up and
And
leave.
he's working.
He's working now because they've figured out that like this dude's harmless.
This is yeah.
So they let him do his custodial business.
Once again, fantasy.
Total
And-
fantasy.
And I'm starting to think at this point while we were watching it
They'd have
that
beat the
this
shit out of
is
him, they would've
maybe
killed him.
all a dream.
Yeah, maybe.
This is all a dream in Jim's head.
Maybe.
Because remember, in the very beginning, his dad is trying to wake him up and is screaming at him.
True.
Screaming at him in bed, and he is just sound asleep, not waking up. And then they immediately cut to Jim's dad taking him to Target in the
For the
cement
interview,
truck.
yeah.
For the
No, that's a
interview.
good point. I wonder. That's a
This
good
could
point.
all be
a fucking dream.
This could all be one big dream happening in Jim's head.
Yeah. Fair enough point.
Fantasy.
There might be an edit of this somewhere where it is all a dream.
I wouldn't doubt it.
So they he's gonna stop and he's like, you can't steal all this shit. And they finally do one more thing, like, listen, we'll fucking kill you. Just get the fuck out of the way.
Right.
And so he's like, fine. So as they're loading all this shit up in the back of the station wagon that they've stolen,
Josie jumps in the front,
Sneaks
starts the car,
and tears
and
off.
fucking tears off. Yeah.
And they start shooting at the car as she's driving off.
Right.
And then Jim runs into the store, breaks into the night manager's office, and grabs a shotgun.
Yeah.
And some shells. And so these guys are like looking around the store for him. You astutely point out, why the fuck did they go back into the store?
Yeah, there was no point for them at that point. There was no reason for them to go back into the store.
Yeah, I mean, what would they have done?
They no longer have a getaway car.
They don't have a getaway car. Like, they rip some more stuff off. Did they think that whatever. So he hides. Fantasy.
Dream sequence.
He hides behind the
return
counter and is on the PA system.
Yeah.
Earlier he was on the PA system doing speeches because he loves to talk.
Yeah.
Now he's there, and she actually grabbed the PA system too, having a conversation with him when they're in a fight.
Yeah.
Over the PA system. Kind of a clever scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's hiding behind the counter and he's doing the speech that he did at the beginning of the movie to the dogs.
Right.
How do I know it was an execution? Because, I've did a little time in the mob or whatever he says. FBI.
Yeah.
And so these guys figure out where he's at. They come sneaking over and he comes up from behind the counter
with the
double-barreled shotgun and goes, "Attention, target shoppers." And the dudes are like, "Oh, fuck." They drop.
Right.
And he blows a hole in between them through the...
2 perfect holes in between them that's shooting out like pieces of paper.
Paper. Again, paper all over
the
this
blower.
movie. Yeah.
So much paper in a target.
My theory is that maybe they shot their wad at her as she drove away with the guns. Because we don't know what happens next.
Right.
Because jump cuts to...
Jump cut. I mean, hard cut to... the sun is up.
The sun is up. And it's the music. It's this weird jazz music that's been playing like off and on in the movie. By the way, the soundtrack, they do have some sort of like not quite alternative, not quite new wave music. It's like John Hughes holding on to new wave going into the 90s.
Right.
So all the music that's in this movie, it's pretty cool sounding, but also
pretty good.
But
none of this. No idea.
No idea
who is singing or playing a lot of it. Yeah.
But there's a lot of like soundtrack music that are clearly artists, and then interwoven with this jazzy, weird 50s, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So cut to this, that music, the jazzy music takes over, and now it's like dissolving montages of various things, right?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just, it showed the sun coming up, or the sun was now up, daylight was out.
Yeah.
Right? Jennifer Connelly is standing at the front door.
That's not... Yeah, you're
and
right.
He comes up and sees her standing there, and
he's got the shotgun on his shoulder.
Right. He smiles, and then
But this is all music. There's no dialogue.
No, there's no dialogue. It's basically another kind of montage.
Yeah.
And then it jumps to the sheriff showing back up in the parking lot of the Target.
Yep.
Getting into the Target store somehow, and then finding the 2 thieves tied up. Basically in bondage
on Adirondack chairs, like with chains around them, and the wanted posters on their chest.
Yes, yeah.
She comes back with the car, and they jump in the like that. She pulls up. She's in the car that she stole.
The station wagon.
The station wagon. Yeah.
Okay.
When he's like
right,
and so there's all cut to
Hollywood, California.
No, cut to them in the
Yeah, right. He rented a limousine to take him to his first day of work.
Yeah, which we left out earlier.
Yeah.
But he's back in this limousine, and it's with her.
And they're all dressed in nice clothes again.
His 50s clothes with like wingtip shoes.
And the three little kids
are on their bikes.
Jim likes to tell tall tales to are on their bikes. And they pull up on the main street of their small town of Monroe.
Yeah.
They both get out of the car, they look around, and then they get back into the car.
And he gives a thumbs up to the kids.
Thumbs up to the kids, and they take off. Jump cut to Hollywood, California. They're sitting poolside, drinking drinks in bathing suits. And then the Hollywood sign changes to
Jim Wood.
Jim Wood.
Yeah. Which is
End of movie.
Which is a callback to earlier in the movie. You weren't paying attention. When he first shows up in his limousine to go to his first day at Target, he looks up at the Target sign, and it turns into Jim Get. So the tar goes away.
See that.
It dissolves away and turns into Jim Get. And he
once again supporting my theory that this is all a dream in Jim's mind.
Yeah,
happening. And it's the ending of this movie happens very abruptly.
Something's going on with this movie is how it was originally going to end. Something has happened to where they have edited this movie to a point where it is like, we can't have it go that way. We have to have it go this way or something. Something's weird about the ending of this movie, which also 83 minutes is weird.
83 minutes is weird.
90 minutes is like feature length.
Right.
88 minutes like Bloodsport. Bloodsport is 5 minutes longer than this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they did some chicanery at the end of this to make it like...
They cut something out.
They cut something out.
Yeah. They had to.
It must have went dark or something happened. She died. Who knows what... Like, something weird happened.
Or they reveal that it's all a
dream.
And the test audience didn't like that.
You're
they wanted to
probably
actually
right.
see them actually end up together.
You're probably right.
I'm just saying, dude. Yeah.
He wakes up. He's in bed.
Yeah.
Damn, you better get up. You got to go find a job.
Right.
Which
right.
I would agree. I like it better this way.
I do.
I don't
too.
want to know if it's a dream.
I do. I like the happy ending. I like seeing both Jennifer Connelly and this guy together. I think they make really good looking babies.
Yeah, sure. Hey, you know what?
Dude, this movie is fucking great.
It's still great. And if you need to burn,
it looks great.
It does look
on
great.
Blu-ray. It looks fucking fantastic. Yeah. I love this movie. I love anything that Jennifer Connelly is in.
Yeah, it's got that John Hughes feel to it, but there's not
little bit.
But there's bit. Yeah. But there's not. It's not a heavy movie. Obviously, they like I said, they try to make it more like you know.
Well, the emotional
life discussions.
Yeah,
and
the emotional conflict stuff does not hit.
No,
like
but
Breakfast Club.
I do know people like her and like him. I do remember people who are pretty well off, but also loved like stealing things from stores.
Oh yeah, yeah.
One of them may or may not have been. Might be doing a podcast with me currently. The guy was pretty well off. He would, for a while there, he liked going into stores. He got off on the fact that he could fucking steal a CD, even though he could easily go in and buy it.
Yeah.
So
you mean Roden?
Yeah, you. Shit, you didn't know that about yourself? So I got that, and also a guy like him who is, you know, he's a bullshitter per se, but he's a creative dude.
Right.
The stories he tells are pretty entertaining, and the way he tells them are pretty kind of funny. And we all know somebody who's like has a gift of gab. Like I said earlier, a guy who has a haircut very similar to him when I met him, who had a gift of gab, and he may or may not have been bullshitting many of the times, but what is destined for bigger and better things.
Right.
And so that I can get with, like, where it's like, but beyond that, like, it's pretty skin deep when it comes to the.
I want to see a follow up. I want to see a follow up. I want to see a sequel of this. I want to find out how quickly they ran through that $52,000.
Boy, that would be funny to see where Jimmy and Josie are now.
It would.
They're not together.
No,
but we'd have to see like where
not
he ended up, where she ended up.
Yeah,
it would be really great.
She left him.
Yeah.
And he's probably still pining over her to this day.
But I think they both...
Because why wouldn't you?
They both still have fond memories of their time together, I would say.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Boom. Great opportunities.
Oh, my God, dude. What a great movie. I give this one a full... Well, I'm not going to give it a full 5.
No, you can't do that.
Pretty fucking close.
I
pretty
give it
close.
I would say it's a solid 4.
Okay.
Solid
I was gonna give it like a 4, almost a 4.5.
Almost a 4.5. Yeah. It's
4.45 Blu It.
It's an often forgotten movie until you explain to somebody. It's the movie where the dude's stuck in a Target, and then it's like, oh yeah, I remember that, but I still forget it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
oh yeah, totally. Well, that was my problem too.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I'd ever seen the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
It was always by the time they were in the Target together.
I had such a crush on her.
Oh, I still have a crush.
I still do too, but like the weird thing about this movie too was like, again, I was like a crazy crush on her, and then again, she didn't show up in a movie again until I don't know. She was in like The Rocketeer, which I had no.
Oh,
I had no.
That's right.
I don't think I've
Yeah,
ever
she was
sat
the love
through that
interest,
movie. Yeah.
love interest in The Rocketeer. I loved that movie.
And then she's in A Beautiful Mind, I think, with.
I don't think I ever saw that with Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever saw it.
Yeah.
No, I did see that.
I think she's in that.
Well, she's in Top Gun.
Yep, she's in Top
Maverick.
Gun. So,
and she is just absolutely gorgeous in that movie.
Yeah.
As well.
yeah.
So
There you go.
yeah.
Dialogue.
Yeah, I loved it. Dialogue.
I got one.
Okay, go for it.
You look like a lady in need of a quarter. Cut, print.
Cut, print.
You look like a lady in need of a quarter.
I think I might need more than just a quarter.